Most people would look at this damp, smelly, ugly house and run a mile. Instead, I'll be turning it into a 6-bed designer HMO. Let me take you inside and show you how. Okay, let's take you inside. As you can see, we've got a straight corridor going straight in front of you up the stairs. I always like this layout because it tends to mean that there's rooms that come off in a convenient fashion. You don't have to rotate staircases, anything like that. So brace yourself for an ugly, damp, smelly room. It's a bit dark in here, the electrics are off. Rooms like this would make most investors and people buying a house run a mile, but this room, I see an opportunity. Let me show you. So as you can see here, we've got a pretty damaged, distressed floor. This does not look nice. It certainly looks nasty. I consulted experts, builders, structural engineers. What we've got here is a mixture of damp rot and in this corner, dry rot. This is certainly not ideal. However, I've spoken with experts and it's fixable. So actually this creates an opportunity for this house. It enables us to buy it at an advantageous value and add value using the BRRR method and ultimately recycle cash on the back of it. As you can see, the utilities, all of these electrics, they're going to need complete replacing. This is going to be a completely back to brick refurb. And to make space in this room, we're going to be taking out these very hefty chimneys. There's one in here, there's one in the next room I'll show you. These are basically just space occupying items that take away the convenience from the room. So these need to go out. The way we do that is using gallows brackets in the loft. As discussed, here is the other large chimney stack. This is the existing dining room. This will be going out. This will create a lot of space. And you can see in here, we have the existing kitchen. It's tired, it's dated, it's ugly, but that means it's perfect. Why is that perfect? Well, we're not going to be keeping it as it is. Regardless of how the baseline condition is, we would be stripping everything out back to brick and putting in brand new. So actually the baseline condition really doesn't matter. It is the space that you have. So back here we have the existing bathroom. As you can see, it is not the prettiest. What this will end up being is an ensuite for this back bedroom. This space gives us options. What I've tended to do with my HMOs previously is move the kitchen into the middle of the house. That enables you to have a bedroom off the back and of course in front. Because you can only go to 6 beds under permitted development in non-Article 4 areas, when we first build the house, this room out back, which I just showed you, would be a shared co-living space. However, if we apply for a 7-bedroom and get it applied, that would be a sui generis HMO. That would be an upside to us, and then that would be an even a higher return on investment. Okay, so welcome to the garden of this property. You will see some interesting artifacts here. The general condition of the garden, you can imagine once it's been stripped back, all the weeds taken away, is pretty low maintenance actually. So that's good for HMOs. In my opinion, you don't want HMOs with loads of grass. You don't want HMOs with loads of flowers because then you need to pay gardeners every month to come in and fix. This will be a low maintenance garden once used. But let me show you some interesting parts. I think for health and safety reasons, we'll be getting rid of this trampoline. But interesting to see. And we did see some interesting symbols on the shed. So this shed will certainly be going and this will all be tidied up. As you can see from the neighbours 2 doors up, they've done an L-shaped dormer. So they've built backwards across the loft. We'll be doing the exact same thing for this property. So let me take you upstairs next. Okay, so come up the staircase. Let me show you around up here. So firstly, we've got the back bedroom. And in HMOs, it's the back bedroom on the outrigger that tends to be, in my experience, the smallest in the house. But this house is actually a bit different. As you can see, this back bedroom is pretty long. So this is going to represent a nice bedroom. We will have an ensuite in the corner. We will have kitchenettes. And I would anticipate rents for this room to be about £800 per month. It would be above this room where the L-shaped dormer goes. And you can see what our neighbours have done alongside here. And in the complete HMO, we will certainly be using better mattresses than this. So this is the first floor, middle floor. This room is actually slightly smaller than I'd expect in similar type of properties. but it would still work. What we'll do to fix this, the chimney breasts come out and we will actually eat into the next door bedroom to get space for the ensuite. So once we have reconfigured this room, chimney out, ensuite eating into the next room, this will be a very workable bedroom. Okay, and now for the next bedroom. Once again, this chimney breast will be coming out. We will be using the space in the corner for the next door bedroom's ensuite. There will also be an ensuite. We'll figure out the exact final arrangement, but this bedroom's ensuite would also be in here. And then as you can see, it would be a nice, decent sized room once finished. And actually you can see this room is on a main road. It's not ideal. However, this road is very popular for HMOs, I understand. And the sound really isn't too bad once you put in good quality windows. So I don't envisage this being a problem. In fact, the location of this property is fantastic. We've got the train station just down the road. So I'm very excited about this project. And when viewing a property to do a loft conversion on it, ideally you want to get into the loft yourself. So in this house, there's a bizarre entry which is actually too small to get up into. So we've not been able to measure the ridge height. Ideally, you'd want that to be at least 2.2 meters, but we've got permission from the vendor and we will be making a small hole and measuring the ridge height. So we've actually been thrown out of that house now. I'm jesting. The estate agent asked us to leave. So we just come to the local park, but let me talk you through the property then. So the property is, as I've shown you, is a 3-bed terraced house, but the plan will be to convert it into a 6-bed all-en-suite HMO. So that front bedroom with the poor flooring and the damp, the dry and wet rot, that will have its chimney stack removed and it will be an ensuite room with a desk in the bay window. The kitchen dining space will remain as a shared space. It will have a HMO kitchen in there. It will have the necessary requirements, so the double hobs, double ovens, and some nice spaces for the young professionals to hang out. On the first floor, there'll be the 3 bedrooms. They'll be all en suites. The chimney stacks will be taken out. Each of the rooms will have a kitchenette. And in the loft, there'll be that L-shaped dormer, where there'll be 2 ensuite bedrooms, maximizing the space. Okay, so here's the existing floor plans for the property. And now I'm showing what the proposed floor plans will look like as a 6-bed HMO. So you can see that the front lounge is now a bedroom with the ensuite eating into the lounge area. There's 3 bedrooms as well on the middle floor, and going into the loft, this gives us 2 bedrooms in the form of an L-shaped dormer. Now, a 7th bedroom would be possible if you had a bedroom where the kitchen is shown on the ground floor. So the kitchen is moved into where the living room is, and where the kitchen is a 7th bedroom. So we'll be working with our planning team to discuss the best option here. And I'm sure you wanted to see the numbers, so here they are. So the purchase price for this property is £265,000. The refurb budget will be £180,000. This property will be purchased using a bridging loan, which will cover the majority of the purchase price and the entirety of the refurb. We've had a pre-valuation done, which indicates that the gross development value will be £560,000, and we anticipate leaving £65,000 in this deal. So I'll show you now the numbers as a 6-bed HMO. So the expected gross rent would be £58,000 per year. The net annual rent as a 6-bed would be £19,200, which equates to £1,600 per month. So the return on cash employed here would be just shy of 30%, and the money that's left in would be paid back within 4 years. And now I'm just going to demonstrate the upside if the 7th bedroom is approved, and this really is very powerful. So here, the expected gross rent would be £67,000 a year as a 7-bed. The net annual rent would be £27,000, which equates to a net cash flow per month of £2,250. So here, the return on cash employed, the return on the cash left in the deal would be over 40%, and it would be paid back within 2.5 years. Okay, so let's end with some key lessons from this video then. So first and foremost, it doesn't matter how the house starts really, it matters how the house ends. So your mindset when buying a house to convert into a HMO should be about the space and its potential rather than its baseline condition. So lesson 2. So distressed properties are not a problem. They're actually an opportunity. So if you find a house that is distressed like the one I just showed you, actually this is an opportunity because often you can get a lower purchase price. There'll be less competition from people wanting to buy it for their own home. And you've got a fantastic opportunity to add value and use the buy, refurbish, refinance, rent method to recycle capital at the end. Lesson 3. Back to brick refurbishment. So what this means is when I convert a property into a HMO, we strip everything back. The electrics come out, the plumbing. Therefore, when you're looking at a property, if the wiring is already poor and the plumbing is poor, that's really not a problem because it gets replaced anyway. Lesson 4. And houses can have big problems. So for instance, the house I just showed you, there was that mixed wet and dry rot. But the key thing is it fixable? So as HMO investors, we work with experts. So if your expert builder and your expert structural engineer tell you about the problem is fixable, that's the key thing. And all you do is you factor the costs to fix that problem into your robust deal analysis. And last but not least, it's all about mindset and vision. So as a HMO investor, I don't look at the property in its current condition and make my judgment. I have the vision to see what it would be worth and look like at the very end after I've reconfigured it into a high-end HMO. So it's not about how it starts. If it's ugly, that's good. It certainly won't be ugly after the refurb. So if you've liked this video, make sure you hit like, you hit subscribe so you don't miss future videos. In future videos, very soon, I'm going to be showing you around 2 newly completed 7-bed HMOs. Okay, so stay sharp and I'll see you on the next one.